What's going on, everybody? Welcome into On 3 Wrestling. I'm your host, Nick Costco. But, of course, Real American Freestyle is happening every single month. And with me today is my man, Mike VanBrill, of course, Rutgers alum, three-time NCAA qualifier. He's going to be on RAF 8 in Philadelphia in April, taking on Jordan Oliver in a featherweight bout. Mike, I know you just wrapped up practice today. You're back at the old stomping grounds up in Piscataway. Practice today, what were you working on? I'm assuming we are getting closer back down the weight, huh?
I'd say about 2 weeks ago, I would say about 8 pounds heavier. So I actually like it a lot. I'm feeling better, looking lean and mean and ready to go. So we're looking to get down to and wrestle tough as RAF comes around. But yeah, we wrapped up practice today and we're focused on mainly freestyle, as RAF is going to be freestyle focused and working on the throws, working on those exciting moves. And you know how I come, Nick, always ready to scrap and throw some high flyers if it shows up in the match.
Yeah, even in your folk style career in high school and college, always a high flyer. I know Merkel was a very patented move for you as well, so I'm sure we're going to see a lot of excitement on the mat come April. I wanted to rewind a little bit. So you're obviously gearing up for this competition. Obviously, Real American Freestyle it's hot right now, an event every month. We just saw what happened at RAF 6. Of course, RAF 7 going back to Tampa. I think Colby is going to wrestle Dylan Danis, but that was another match announced right there. So obviously they're getting big names, they're getting big time wrestlers, so they're blending it all together. When you decide to get back into competition, obviously your college career ended now, I believe now 4 years ago already, which is hard to believe. You had a little stint with the Championship Wrestling Association last year, but I guess wrestling for you after college wasn't totally in the cards and you were focusing on your career. First, what led you back to competition? Did you always just have that itch to just get back on the mat?
Yeah, I think I described it before on a podcast, but it's more, I feel like it's that fighting spirit that never leaves you. And for wrestlers, we're built to want to train and go after that next thing. And RAF has given that platform for wrestlers to be able to take that dedication and passion that they have into the next phase and actually make money from it and incorporate it into their business. And one of the things that I want to do in my life, regardless, I am for the past 2 to 4 years been very focused on business. I've gotten into high-level entrepreneurship rooms and I've rubbed shoulders with some really high-level people in that business space. And one thing I will say is that wrestling is giving me advantage in the business field, just in regards to getting going and taking that same mindset. So I'd like to incorporate this type of lifestyle into business in general, keeping my body healthy, training. Nick, I know you're into jiu-jitsu and things like that. So I've been training jiu-jitsu actually for probably about 4 or 5 years now. So I've been just trying to keeping and staying in it. And I love it so much. It provides me so much happiness in my life. So
yeah, it keeps me on the mat as well. And frankly, I think I'm very much better at jiu-jitsu than I was wrestling, which is why I stay behind the mic, of course. What you mentioned, the entrepreneurships and obviously rubbing shoulders. And I think you're out in Idaho right now. Is that correct?
So actually, I was living out there for just about 2 years working with a software entrepreneur. He was a tech founder in the sales and marketing world. So spent 2 years out there learning marketing and sales and all basically digital means of connecting and creating revenue for businesses. How easy it is to be able to just stay in your home state, especially like Jersey. It is amazing here, hard to beat. But I will say Idaho was absolutely beautiful. They hunt, they are out in the wilderness. They love hiking and just like that holistic lifestyle. So I loved it out there. And I don't take any of it back. So now I'm back in New Jersey. I got RAF coming up, focusing heavily on the family construction business. And really the digital things that I learned out in Idaho have still carried me into the business. So I'm still doing those things as well and learning and growing. And you know how it is, just trying to stay as active as I can on and off the mat.
No doubt. Obviously, it's all blended together for you right now over the last 3 to 4 years. RAF approaches you. I know you were very active on social media trying to get into Real American Freestyle. They give you the call. Just tell me how this all came together as much as you can. Obviously, they're putting up against a big-time opponent, Jordan Oliver, of course, wrestling fans know, and a legend in his own right. He obviously dabbled in MMA, of course, making a lot of waves on the international scene as well. He was the featherweight champion back after RAF 3. I know he missed weight, but he obviously is still going to be in title contention. That belt is vacant. When you put it all together, this is a massive match for you for your RAF debut. So I guess, one, how did this all come together? What were your conversations like with the organization that ultimately led you to this point where you're going to compete next month?
Yeah, so I believe it was the perfect storm. I was out in Idaho, actually was about to get on one of the cards while I was out there, and things just didn't come into play, but they continued to grow, and I was watching them as they unfolded these past couple of events, and I love what they're doing out there, bringing these UFC fighters in and really making it a sport where we can bring viewership to wrestling. And that's really what I feel like we need. And they're doing that and bringing that into the space. And for over 6 months, I've been in contact with them, training, and really just staying on the expectation that I was ready to get on a card and wrestle whoever they put in front of me. Like I said, it was a perfect storm, because now I would love to, my vision is to hold a Real American Freestyle belt at the featherweight division. And with the freestyle, I love freestyle. Over my career, I've really leaned heavily on the throws, on being exciting out there. So I feel like it's going to transition better outside of my college career. And I think going against an opponent like Jordan Oliver would solidify me as a real competitor in the freestyle circuit, regardless if it stays in RAF or onto the United States circuit. So that's the plan. And I'm looking to go in there and win this one, and then see what's next in regards to getting a belt. I know it's vacant right now, so I'm focusing on one match at a time, similar to back in college. It's one match at a time. And it's just some really exciting things. It's not even, for me, it's more fun than anything. I got a ton going on outside of the competition world. I'm blending it really right now, training and staying focused. But I think it's going to really benefit me in both factors. And I can't wait to see how big Real American Freestyle gets and what they're doing with the UFC cards, the UFC fighters that are coming on. That's really a big vision of mine, is going against a high level UFC opponent on that match. Yeah, that would be a really fun thing. And I've been training with, in this room, we bring Coach Goody and the Rutgers Wrestling program, bring some of the best grapplers all around the East Coast area. I remember back in the day, we were training with Frankie Edgar, Cody Garbrandt, Eddie Alvarez, Marlon Moraes, Zabit Nurmagomedov. I remember training with him. Like, just some of the people that came through this room have allowed me to get my message of wanting to become a combat athlete in those aspects for the past 10 years. So I think it's the perfect storm.
No doubt. When you go through a training camp like this, I guess now at this point, because you're about 6 weeks or so out, so this is like your official training camp. When you train just for one singular match, obviously this goes for pretty much any athlete that are on these cards, because they're training for one tournament a year or two tournaments a year when it comes to ranking series or the world championships, the trials, whatever the case may be. You don't have competitions pretty much every week like you did in college. What's been the biggest adjustment for you in your training, getting down the weight, knowing that this is just one match, and whatever the future may hold, whether it's going to be multiple matches at Real American Freestyle, whether you get back into the United States wrestling circuit, how do you train and just keep that singular focus on just one match without it maybe getting too repetitive week to week?
Got it. Yeah, so I would say it's probably the best translation would be into the UFC, how these guys do it. They're training like 2 to 4 fights a year. Some are more active. I think it would be trying to blend the lifestyle of becoming an athlete in general, right? Because it's easy to skip a workout or skip a training or get too focused into one area. So it's definitely different blending that. You got a taste of it as a college athlete with kind of academics and blending those two, but it is much different because you're more focused every single day on tournaments coming up. I love to train. I love to compete. I'm not sure exactly what the future holds, but I know that I'm one of the most in shape I've ever been in my life. Whether that's just more because the wrestling season, it's a grind. We're going 4 matches every single week, training every single day. We're talking 10 to 14 workouts per week sometimes, especially when I was cutting down 141 pounds. That was a big commitment. So it's trying to blend the lifestyle in between going to training, lifting, running, doing things that keep you active versus the opposite.
You've been pretty much, I don't want to say the entire time, but you've been under the radar going back to your college career. You come in from Clearview High School, a smaller school in Southwest Jersey. Obviously, a very storied wrestling program, state runner-up. So you came in with some accolades into your Rutgers career. But as your career is well documented at Rutgers, you moved up and down the weight classes all over the place. COVID hit right in the middle of your career. You had a great Big Ten tournament run in 2021. And obviously, you had your career high in wins, your final season as well. So it's been a pretty big roller coaster for you, but albeit with a lot of success. But when you compare yourself to someone like Jordan Oliver or some of the other champs in Real American Freestyle right now, you see the NCAA titles, world and Olympic golds, or other types of medals. Do you pride yourself in being more of that underdog and under the radar type of wrestler, and you're here to showcase how exciting you can be for this organization?
100%. I'm the underdog in this matchup, but I believe it makes me more dangerous to show up. Lots of ups and downs, lots of losses, but a lot of the times it's harder to persevere through consistent loss versus being that blue chip recruit who comes in, who's undefeated all the time and transitions into college. But I don't take anything back with my career. I think it was exciting. I think that the highs were worth the lows. It makes me a better human outside of sports, but I also think it makes me more dangerous on the mat because I'm ready to go. I have nothing to lose. And I believe that I'm going to beat Jordan Oliver that night. I'm going to be the better man that night. And that's how it works, right? It's like
Right.
4 NCAAs, 4 Big Tens. It's who's showing up on that day better than the other person. Sometimes it's not always the person who has more wins or better accolades. And we see that actually in the Real American Freestyle circuit right now. We see Carter Strachey coming in and losing to Nate Jackson. Now, Nate Jackson, he came into the SKWC room, to the NJRTC room, so he's a tough competitor. But if you stack accolades to Strachey, you would probably put your money on Strachey. And so you see those upsets, you see those things, and it's just more of the event, the excitement, the buildup. Anything can happen on the mat, in the ring. And that's what makes our sport one of the best sports in the world.
Going back to your Rutgers career a little bit, obviously, I know you've been a big proponent of telling your story, that run at Big Tens where you lose early, you wrestle, and then on the backside, one of the best runs we've seen in recent memory for a guy who's maybe seated right around a stacked weight class where you're probably middle of the pack, and all of a sudden you're knocking off top 5 guys left and right. You finished third of the Big Tens. That I believe you got the 10th seed at NCAA's that year after that run, especially when it was a weird year coming right off the coat. You had the canceled tournament. So when you look back, that's arguably one of your biggest accomplishments on the college scene. Obviously, getting to the NCAA tournament 3 times in your careers. I don't know how much you talk to younger athletes at this point, or how much you're involved in terms of like maybe coaching or helping out at clinics or anything else like that, or even the current college crop right now, if you've been practicing with the Rutgers as of late. Do you talk about that, and knowing that maybe some guys that are not expected to be automatics for the podium or be automatics for NCAA title contention, what do you tell those types of guys? Hey, and this is obviously not a shot at you, but if you say, if I could do it, like you could do it as well. Like, do you preach something like that to the athletes right now?
100%. I think I try and tell that message in my life because we all have a message, and that message reaches different people. And that message might not be for the best person who came out of college and is a blue chip recruit and then goes on and wins all the tournaments. My message may be preaching to the person who feels like they are the underdog. They can't find a way to win and they're struggling over and over again. It's for my message to them is like, how many times can you get back up after you lose? And that mindset of resiliency, I think, follows into life and business and even like relationships in general. So I try to preach that message. I don't talk about the specifics much, but that win in the blood round versus Max Murin, the number 2 seed, really was my career defining moment because I didn't win that match. I wouldn't have received a scholarship to come back for my master's degree. Financially, it didn't make sense for me to go back and do all that. You can start making money, but at the end of the day, I chose something else. And I think all the pressure of having the weight of my back against the wall, there's 2 ways to take that. It's like you feel it as weight or you feel it as freedom. And I really felt freedom. I remember just like the feeling of walking on that mat. I remember he was getting pumped up, slapping himself in the face, trying to get himself ready to go. And I was sitting here just like arms crossed, breathing very clearly and fine. There was a mistake actually that happened before the Big Tens that I was getting warmed up for that match at the wrong session. So I was getting ready for that match at the morning session and I was trying to warm up, get ready to go. And then I walked out and all my coaches were coaching somebody else. And I was so confused because I thought my name was coming up on the board. And then I go, you're not till tonight. So I remember having this bitterness about me, blaming other people, trying to blame versus blaming myself for being in that scenario. And there was a shift in my mind where I went back to the hotel. I took a mean nap and it was weird. It was like a refresher in my mind where I could reset. And after that reset, it was almost like, Mikey, this is the last time you might ever walk on a wrestling mat ever again. This might be your last journey at it. Go have fun. I'm thankful to be here, really. It was like gratitude radiating through me versus the opposite of what I wrestled with too much in my career, which was fear, which was trying to beat the ranked guy, I don't know. There was so much pressure as a college athlete, whether you're doing it for yourself, for anybody else, for the organization. And so you put a lot of pressure on yourself. In that moment, there was no pressure that day. And that was the difference. So if I wrestle like this coming up on Real American Freestyle or anywhere in the future, I do believe I could beat the best in the world. No
doubt. That is unbelievable considering you were so locked in. It's, this next round of Big Tens is not till tonight and I have to wait another 6-7 hours before you even get out there on the mat, which is absolutely insane. It's cool to hear how that singular moment, not only that match, but right before the match, flipped your mindset entirely and obviously led you coming back for your 6th and final season at Rutgers and, of course, catapult catapulted to where you are today. Getting into wrestling specifics, people know Jordan's style. Of course, you look at his 3 matches so far on the RAF circuit. He beat Real Woods twice by criteria, very close matches, but Jordan generally, it seems, at least in these matches, has pushed the pace late. And really, the gas tank isn't emptied until the very last second, essentially, where he's trying to maybe catch these guys off guard. And he just beat Bo Bartlett 5-3 in his last match. What was that, a couple weeks ago now? So when you look at combating his style, he's going to push the pace. Everyone likes him to be a high flyer. So far, it's been a little bit more low scoring for him, but he obviously can go for the big move, as you can as well. Do you see this as a clash of styles, or are you fine-tuning some of your things that were patented for your folk style career that you're now able to transition to freestyle?
Yeah, I think we need more fun in wrestling, and I want to get him uncomfortable and get him to bait into some moves, to some high flyers, so we can get the fans wanting to see something super, super exciting. No hit on his style or anything like that, but I want to spice it up a little bit, get him on the out of bounds, getting him coming up into my ties, getting him going upper body, and looking for those throws and looking for those things that really made me an exciting wrestler in the NCAA. So that's what I'm looking to do. And I think it's a good match. It's a good style for me. I think I'm going to be much bigger than him. I'm going to be coming in at a solid weight cut right now. I think it benefits me because I'm super professional. Back in college, there was a time where I was cutting from 165 to 141. I couldn't go out. I couldn't eat bad foods. I couldn't really do the things that were allowed. If you weren't cutting weight, you could get away with it. So I couldn't get away with skipping workouts. I couldn't get away with that. So it's bringing me back to my natural hungry to compete, and pretty much dialed in with the food choices and everything like that. I think it's going to weigh in my favor regardless at featherweight. And I think the people that are watching on April 18th, they're going to see a super exciting match and a person who can be a real contender for the Real American Freestyle Championship belt.
We'd love to see that. As far as the guys you're training with in the room right now, are you picking and choosing your partners in terms of, I believe you're mostly training at Rutgers?
Yeah, so I've been mainly training with the Rutgers guys. There's a bunch of RTC athletes in here. Actually, someone who I went back and forth with a lot, Sammy Sasso, he's doing a lot of the coaching. So he's been putting me in situations with other guys, giving me good tips and things that are going to help me. So the coaches, Goody, Pollard, and all the basically Rutgers wrestling guys, I'll grab anybody in the room. I'm going to utilize them as much as I can. And there's going to be some guys in South Jersey that I'm training with, going to be grabbing. And then in Philadelphia, on those workouts where I need an extra workout and I need to get in a weight cut, I have the Pennsylvania RTC where Darian Cruz is running the workouts. I've been down there a couple times training with some of the guys on the RTC coaching program there. So I got a lot of guys. I have a lot of resources at my fingertips here on the East Coast compared to when I was out West. We take it for granted in New Jersey, the skill set that we carry on the East Coast. Out there was super tough to find super high level guys to train with daily. I'm excited because like I said, it was perfect storm coming back to the East Coast. I live in Philly actually. So I live in Philly full time in the Fairmount area. And I love Philly because I've lived there before I moved out to the West Coast. And it's just like a great homecoming. I saw Jordan Oliver saying that he's going to defend his home turf. That's my home turf in Philadelphia, and that can only be room for one of us. Let's go.
Talk about a perfect storm. You keep bringing that up as far as the two of you clashing on this card in Philadelphia in both of your backyards. So you love to see that. And again, no shortage of elite training partners in Jersey, PA, and wherever else you may go. On a related note, are you training with your brother at all? Do you get a chance to scrap with him at all now that you're back home?
Yeah, we'll probably end up starting to scrap together more as the training kicks up. So that's a good one for sure to have two brothers who wrestle Division I. Like I said, a lot of resources to go ahead and be well trained for this event.
Yeah, of course, John had a great career at Rutgers as you did.
Yeah.
Graduated a couple of years before you did. As far as what you're doing, you're living in Philly. You're going to be training a lot. Obviously, you're still working, so you're managing all these different hats. NJ State tournaments this weekend. You were on the big stage. I can't believe this already. 10 years ago for Clearview High School. Are you going to take in Boardwalk Hall all this weekend?
For sure, I'll be there. Boardwalk Hall, seeing all those guys get their hand raised. That arena is so special. And it's crazy. I hope that New Jersey wrestling stays in that arena for the long haul, because I do believe New Jersey wrestling is one of the best wrestling states in the country. And I think Boardwalk Hall is what made that experience so insane. Wrestling in front of 10,000 fans, just screaming. It was the last match of the night against Shane Griffith. And I remember trying to get warmed up. I started warming up right when the second match came around because I was so used to wrestling like 138 during a dual meet season. So it threw me off a little bit. I was like trying to keep my adrenaline rushing all the way through. But that was a good match. And It's crazy. He went on to save the Stanford wrestling program. It was such a tough athlete. I actually wrestled. I used to train with Shane Griffith. We were on the same team, Delta Force, which was a huge youth travel team. We wrestled on the same team together and then found a way to be wrestling in the state finals together. So that was a crazy journey. I didn't even make it to states my first year. And then second year, I went 0-2. So I had to flip the script pretty quickly in the state tournament. But it's a ride for all those New Jersey guys to get in there and try and get their hand raised in the finals.
Yeah, man. Win or lose, you were on the big stage on that gold and blue mat right in the middle of Boardwalk Hall. And it is funny that you mentioned Shane Griffith obviously saving the program as well. And the parallels, too, between your state final in 2016, you mentioned the Big Ten tournament just 5 years later where you warmed up too early, but it paid off for you eventually in college. So a little mental note, maybe subconsciously you were thinking about that in the Big Ten tournament 5 years later.
I didn't even put that together. That's funny. That's funny.
It's why I'm behind the mic and you do the wrestling.
I like that.
So I call out all the action. As far as Rutgers is concerned, obviously they're gearing up for the NCAA tournament next week, 9 NCAA qualifiers. I think it's like the 4th time that they've sent 8 or more under Goody. So when you look at what the preparation looks like, Dylan Shawver just got in at large bid, 4th time. He's going to the end of the tournament, All-American and Big Ten champ 2 years ago. What do you make of D-Shaw and the rest of the squad going into Cleveland next week? Again, there's a chance, and for a lot of these guys, it's their last ride, similar to what you were gearing up for at the end of your career as well.
100%. I think that just getting the energy in the room for these guys, they are like free-spirited at this time. It's all the pressure's off. You did all the work. You went through the grind. You've gone through the Big Ten season. You've taken your lumps and you've came back and probably gotten a couple of those signature wins that give you the confidence to potentially get your mindset like, hey, I'm an All-American contender. And I think that's what these guys are doing. They're laughing, they're joking, they're eating and training hard as well. It's a balance of going in there, training. And D-Shaw, I think he's All-American once. I think he can come back and do it again. He has proven track record to come back and win at those moments that you need it. And then Barboza, he had a really cool signature move there with the spin around for the 2 at Big Tens. It's funny. I mentioned it earlier. It's like, who's the better man that day? And like, everything that you did in the preseason, everything, all those wins that you had, really, you're back to 0-0 because, when those lights kick on and, that arena's screaming and the lights are going and you're ready to step on that mat for the first time. It's one of the hardest feelings to deal with if you feel the pressure. If you can find a way to get in a mind state of gratefulness, freedom, ready to compete, that's where you're going to see those wins happen.
I guess on that note, when you mentioned walking out to a big stage like that, you've seen the biggest stages in wrestling. Of course, New Jersey State Finals, arguably the best the high school wrestling has to offer in the country. When you step out on that stage, one classification, it's just who's the best in this weight class. You've been on that stage before. You've been at Big Tens, the hardest conference tournament in the country, and you've been at the NCAA tournament 3 times. So you look, I guess, walking out on that stage or walking out of the tunnel, whether it's the singular mat in the front, a do or die situation, or it's your first match of the day on that Thursday morning session. You mentioned staying locked in and being free-spirited and not letting that pressure get to you, essentially, and trying to wrestle your game and not wrestle too wound up and tight. How do you take that from those experiences to Real American Freestyle next month, where it is a little bit different? It's like a state final where it's one match at a time. It's just you out there against your opponent, a couple thousand people screaming at you. How do you take that to this stage where you're doing it as a professional now?
It's going to be exciting to see. It's going to be my first debut with Real American Freestyle. I'm going in there, first time there. However, it's not my first time on the wrestle mat on a big stage, like you said. So it's more fun. I'm going to go in there more the relaxed MVB than ever, go in there and let things fly, no pressure. And like I said, I'm going to go out there and really prove that I'm going to be a legit contender in this organization. And then one match at a time. And then I'm excited to see the next opponent after I take the win in Philadelphia on April 18th. Who is it? Is it a UFC fighter? Is it someone exciting? Like you said, the social media world is very interesting.
Yeah.
I've been taking it pretty seriously back. I started doing the social media in like sophomore year in college. And there was it was hard to do back then because people didn't really see the value. There's been a big change of that because it's important. It's what organizations are looking for to bring attention to the sport. And I believe that I'm well on my way to reaching 50 to 100 million people with my Instagram account. So I believe I bring a lot of eyeballs to the sport. And it's going to be, like I said, a perfect storm because I can blend the media, the actual skill set of being a D1 athlete, and then the similar pressures that I felt as being a Division I athlete and trying to put my message out there on video to step into that and do it again and be the fact that, yeah, after a wrestling match, you'll have to worry. Are you posting? Is someone going to beat you the next day? What are they going to think? So I'm well versed in that. So I'm excited. It's going to be fun. It's going to be, my family's going to be there. It's going to be in my home city. There's going to be tons of people that have watched my career and Rutgers and just the Big Ten NCAA schedule in general. So I think we're going to draw a really big crowd. The main event is going to be Marab versus Henry Cejudo. So that's going to be a really cool one. I hope they get more UFC fighters on. You got any hints of where you think they're going to put on there?
No, as far as hints, I don't, but I do like I like the mix of, you got guys like, I'll just use Ed Henderson as an example. He's the champ. He's obviously Captain America right now, coming off his college career and getting on the world team and whatnot. And of course, he's the champ of the division. And then you throw guys in, they're very polarizing. Colby Covington, you throw in a legend like Henry Cejudo, mix it all together. At this point, Jordan Burroughs is still in the Jersey, Philly backyard, so I think we need to maybe get him on RAF too at a certain point. As far as I was interested about this because you go from early in your college career, again, you're not the blue chip of the blue chips, but you start slowly developing. You face adversity, you come back better from adversity. And it just seems like you're getting close to that point, but it seems as an athlete, is this the best you've ever felt and feel like you've been able to wrestle as an athlete, even going back to towards the end of your college career?
Yeah, I believe so. Being in the room with some really high level guys and still scrapping. Last year, I wrestled at the US Open. I was right there with some really tough opponents that are training full time. So I've been able to manage a lifestyle where I can focus on my life outside of the sport, but come back and still be super dangerous and compete with some of the best guys in the United States. It's right to say that I'm in one of the best states I've ever been in my life. Health, wealth, lifestyle, relationships. So trying to just stay super dialed in on those things. But I think it translates. I think my mindset's in a good spot. I'm in the right place to be able to really bring an upset to Real American Freestyle and be an exciting competitor for Chad Bronstein and Izzy Martinez and really grow the sport of wrestling and take that in every aspect, online, offline, and make a really positive change in the sport of wrestling.
We are looking forward to it on April 18th in Philadelphia. Of course, Marab and Henry Cejudo, that's your main event. You're going to be taking on Jordan Oliver in a featherweight bout. Do we have your walkout song picked out, and can you share it with us, or we have to be all surprised here?
So I do have one walkout song. I've been doing it since the rack, since pretty much every single year. There's a 99.9% chance that I'm repping that one. And if there's anything changed, I'll be sure to not let you know and maybe keep you on your toes. But right now it's Odessa and it's called Loyal. So that's going to be my walkout song. It's hype. It's fun. Big build up to the drop. And that's exactly what my match is going to entail. It's going to be a big anticipation and then a big drop as I hit him with a Merkle to his back. So
as long as you try to hit that Merkle in that match, I will be personally satisfied. After seeing it maybe 1,000 times in your college career. Mike VanBrill with me here on 3 Wrestling. Mike, before I let you go, I want to give the folks out there, plug your social media, anything else you got cooking up in the works, and obviously ahead of Real American Freestyle 8 in April.
Yeah, perfect. You guys can follow me on Instagram. My name's Mike VanBrill on Instagram, as well as TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and follow me along this journey. I'm going to be putting some really cool trailers and promos out. I've been getting really good with media and AI and content. So if you guys ever need anything with that, let me know. And then shout out South Jersey, VanBrill Pools. Anyone in the South Jersey area that, is a homeowner that wants to get a pool, you know where to go. And then tune into Real American Freestyle Philadelphia, April 18th. I'm going to be one of the most exciting ones on the card and going for a Real American Freestyle belt after that. So right now we're focused on Jordan Oliver, April 18th. It should be a super exciting event. So get your tickets and we'll be ready to go.
RAFA, April 18th, Philadelphia. Mike VanBrill, Jordan Oliver taking on each other in a featherweight bout. Of course, that time of the year, check out VanBrill Pools. It's another additional plug for the family business. Mike, I appreciate you, man. Good to talk to you again. Good to catch up. And we'll all be rooting for you in April and looking forward to seeing you out there in Philadelphia.
Perfect, man. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate you.